This is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, or review. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Check us out. And don't forget about the Instagram at That Guy Jig. Jigsaw Jimmy 17 on the YouTube. Week 7 has came. Week 7 has gone. And Week 7, once again, has left us with fucking injuries. Listen, guys, this is that's just the theme of fantasy football. Okay? It's an everlasting adapting game. Never once do you get a chance of just sitting still. And if you are just sitting still, if you are stagnant, you're either very lucky or more than likely you're probably not even a competitive team. But for us out there who are competing every Sunday, for us out there who are dreading that ESPN sound because we don't know how long someone is out. Mike Evans will be out for at least 3 weeks. DK Metcalf is considered week to week, and they say he might play Sunday. But if you are losing those two players, you are rolling in the deep. Jamison Williams is taking PEDs. All right, he's on steroids, supposedly. So guess what? He's out for 2 games. My point is, people are leaving, but people are coming back as well. Cooper Kupp's supposed to be back Thursday, and Puka Nakua's 21-day window has been reopened. Week 7, like I said, has came and gone. It's left us with some shit, but it's also left us with some good ideas. Now, I'm going to give you some people to replace some people. We're going to dive a little deeper for this Week 8 because now, I'm telling you, the playoff picture, it's muddy, but it's starting to get clean. The water is starting to get filtered. So as the water gets filtered, guess what? The picture gets more clear. And I don't want you to be disappointed. I don't want you to be sad. I want you to be hungry. And if you are in the playoffs, don't be satisfied. This is where you stack wins. This is what I was talking about earlier in the show. We stack wins. So that way, when everybody's battling for playoff position, we're good. We're good. We got our wins early. But sometimes we aren't born into privilege. Sometimes you have to get it out the mud. And this is what I'm talking about. For those who have to get it out the mud, the playoff picture is not done yet. The paint is not dried. The picture can still be manipulated. But we have to move right and we have to move fast. And that's what we're going to do. First thing, we're going to subscribe. So go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG, and you are my friend. And friends support friends. So subscribe. But week 7, we saw some things. We saw some big performers. Now, as we move into week 8, like I said, there are some injuries. We do know Mike Evans is out. Replacements for Mike Evans. Replacements for DK Metcalf. Just general replacements. People that could be on the move. I like McMillan. I like Cedric Tillman. See, the Browns, Deshaun Watson had got injured. If you don't know, torn Achilles. He is out for the season. Ruptured Achilles. He's done. Shout out to the shitty city of Cleveland for celebrating a man's injury. Shout out to you guys. You guys are great. But for us fantasy football players, there's always a little silver lining. Deshaun Watson has been terrible this year. Jameis Winston comes in. Jameis Winston has had LASIK eye surgery. Jameis Winston likes to throw the ball. The weapons for the Cleveland Browns, they have some. I know Nick Chubb came back. I know Nick Chubb got into the paint. They are playing Baltimore, so I don't see the script being a Nick Chubb-friendly day. I like Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman is a guy they drafted a few years ago. This is his time to shine. This is his time to shine. If you can get your hands on Cedric Tillman, get your hands. Ray McLeod's another one. Ray McLeod the third. They're going against Tampa Bay. This is going to be kind of a get-right game for Kirk Cousins. He's been struggling the last 2 weeks. Look for Kirk Cousins to get right and look for those wide receivers to get right. Troy Franklin for the Denver Broncos. This guy is going to take over the number 1 role from Courtland Sutton. Listen to me and hear me now. He will take over the number 1 role from Courtland Sutton. He has a rapport with the quarterback already, and he's a more fit for this offense. Courtland Sutton could be on the move. Another Denver Bronco or former one, Tim Patrick. With Jamison Williams being out with suspension, look for Tim Patrick to get a bigger role. He's already been making splashes in the offense. Look for him to make bigger splashes. Look for Tim Patrick. Look for Tim Patrick. A couple of guys that you might not be thinking about because they're already on teams that have shitty quarterbacks. DeAndre Hopkins. Look for some of these veteran wide receivers to be on the move. Look for some teams to try to bring in some guys to make some plays. Because a lot of these teams, the Buccaneers, especially the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, there's teams out there that need replacements. The 49ers is another team that's going to be looking to probably bring in some help. This is a team that can't stay over themselves. Not only is Christian McCaffrey probably going to be out for another 2 weeks, but now you got Brandon Ayuk. He's done for the season. He just got his bag. Thank you. I'm happy that he got his money before the season-ending injury. Kittle, sprained foot. The playmakers for the 49ers are going to be banged up. This is good for Jordan Mason, but at the same time, this is going to be tougher on him because now defenses are going to be able to key more on him. Brock Purdy is probably no longer a fantasy football option, especially with Deebo Samuels going through wherever the fuck he's going through. So with that being said, we're on to week 8 and we have to win. I don't care what your record is. You have to win week 8. Why? I don't know. Because we play the game to win. That's why. No other reason other than we play the game to win. And it's time to win. Week 8, Thursday Night Football, Vikings and Rams. I predict Cooper Kupp comes back. If he's back and healthy, he could be traded as well. He's been involved in trade conversations. There's been conversations with the Rams maybe trading Matthew Stafford to the Vikings. This is interesting. These are interesting facts here. But either way, these two teams play on Thursday Night Football. The last 3 weeks, Thursday Night Football has not disappointed in the sense of fantasy football. We've gotten points. We've gotten production. So I don't want to stop this train. We're going to keep it rolling. We're going to feed it some goddamn coal, and we're going to ride this motherfucker. Pause. But the Vikings and Rams, this is going to be a good game to get involved on for both sides. The Rams are going to have a tough time. Now listen to me. Even if Cooper Kupp comes back, I don't want you to expect too much. The Vikings defense is very solid. It's very, very solid. And with the Rams not having a full roster as far as offensive line, running back, quarterback, look for the Vikings to get a couple more, get back some pressures. Get some turnovers. Matthew Stafford's a gunslinger, but sometimes he does turn the ball over. The Vikings turn the ball over. Look out for the Vikings to maybe get even a touchdown. I like the Vikings, everybody. The Rams defense is going to be struggling. And like I said, with the Vikings being the way they are on defense, they're going to create extra opportunities for their offense. So give me everybody for the Vikings. I like this game's in LA, so look at Jordan Addison. He finished his collegiate career in Los Angeles, over there at USC. Maybe he gets in the paint this week. It's been a minute. Look for him to get into the paint. But everybody for the Vikings is in play. Everybody for the Rams, you still play. You still play Kyren Williams. You still play Cooper Kupp. You still play, Tutu Atwell if you need to in different leagues. DeMarcus Robinson, Tyler Johnson in the deeper leagues. If you still need to play these guys, they are available. But I like everybody. Let's get to Sunday Fun Day. We don't have the appetizer game of London. I know the games overall, like the matchups suck, but there's something about having football at 7 a.m. and then you get that 7 a.m. and it leads you all the way up to that 11 a.m. kickoff. Obviously, I'm in Mountain Time, so my time zones are a little bit different. But I just like that feel. Eagles at Cincinnati. There's a reason why Cincinnati is the favorite. They should win this game. Their offense is starting to pick up steam. The Eagles' defense is terrible. Play everybody for Cincinnati. Maybe even play the guy from Harvard. You might even want to see what he's talking about because the Eagles' defense is bad and that guy hasn't been in the paint. He's a clear-cut third receiver for the Bengals. Last week he had 0. Last week he had no catches on 1 target. This week, look out for him. Look out for him. I'm not saying the guy's going to have a career day, but look out for him. Chase Brown should get into the paint. I like T. Higgins. I like Jamar Chase. I like A.J. Brown. And I like Devontae Smith a lot, especially since he just had such a dud game last week. Look for him to have a bounce-back game like Viagra. I like Saquon Barkley. I like Jalen Hurts. This is going to be one of those games where you look up and the over-unders are in the 50s. This is one of those games. Circle it, mark it down. Like I said earlier, Jameis Winston under center for the Browns. Overall, what do they really have in Cleveland? I don't know. But we're going to find out on Sunday. And Jameis Winston's going to give some guys some opportunities because ultimately Jameis Winston understands the assignment. He understands the assignment. Of course, Derrick Henry. Of course, Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews has made an appearance, 2 touchdowns, and the one before that. So he's had 3 touchdowns in the past 2 weeks. Love Mark Andrews. Rashard Bateman is finally showing up in that number 1 wide receiver role. So look out for the Ravens. Look out for them. If you have the Ravens players, you want them to do their damage early. You want them to do their damage in the first and second quarter so that way you ain't got to worry about it because I'm here to tell you they're going to get up, they're going to get out of there. It's just that simple. Titans and Lions, same thing. You want your work done early and often because they're going to get up and they're going to get up out of there. It's not very often teams in the NFL get to really get like a straight blowout where they get to rest their starters. It's not very often because these are still professional athletes. But these 2 games we're talking about, we got a team that's 1-6, a team that's 1-5. So those 2 teams, look out for them. Sports gambling wise, you got plus 320 and plus 450. You do the math on that. I don't know. Cardinals and Dolphins. This is the game of what if. What if the Dolphins are healthy? Tua has a chance to play. I doubt he plays, but there's a chance he still plays. I've been wrong before. The thing that really is just really mind-boggling to me about the Miami Dolphins is, there's receivers in the NFL that have never had a good quarterback. There's receivers in the NFL that pray to have some of these quarterbacks, and these guys suck. I just don't understand it. I don't know if it's McDaniels. I don't know if Snoop Huntley's just that bad. But I just find it hard to believe that in a game of football, in 4 quarters, you can't find a way to get Tyreek the ball. I just can't believe this. I think at this point, it has to be being done on purpose. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Jets and Patriots. This is pretty much the shit bowl of the AFC East. I mean, these are 2 skid marks on the underpants of the AFC East. We're just waiting for the Jets to kind of go and, take their underwear off and clean them, get them washed. And then maybe we'll start believing in them. They have a lot of weapons. They just got Devontae Adams. They just brought him in. So now they have a wide receiving core that's probably the best that this organization's ever seen. This is probably the most weapons offensively this organization has ever had. So hopefully they do better, but 2-5 is not something you expect. I do expect them to beat the Patriots. The Patriots are bad. The Patriots are a bad football team, but you never know with the Jets. They are a reality TV show. You think they're about to hit the climax, and then next thing you know, the ex-boyfriend shows up and shits on their lawn. It's just terrible. Falcons and Buccaneers. This is a rivalry. This is going to be a good game. Going to be very interested to see how the Buccaneers use the new receivers. I will tell you this. They will use all 3 of those running backs. So if you can get your hands on one of those running backs, do. If you get your hands on one of the Buccaneers running backs, I promise you will not be disappointed. Because when teams lose wide receivers, what do? I know they say next man up, but they start running the damn ball more. It's the NFL. And like I said about the Falcons, look for Kirk Cousins to bounce back. He's had a terrible last couple weeks. Offenses look kind of inept. So look for them to get hard. Look for them to get going. Packers and Jaguars. This is a trap game for Green Bay. They're going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's coming off of a win. Trevor Lawrence was smiling. ETN might be back, but I kind of think they're done with ETN. Don't be surprised if he gets moved. Brian Thomas Jr. is clearly the number 1 receiver down there. Christian Kirk, you got that guy. Evan Ingram, good tight end. Look out for the upset against the Packers. The Packers are a team that fiddle fart around. But if you can get your hands on Romeo Doubs, do that. Kraft is clearly a tight end 1. Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Schmidt, his name is my name too, got into the paint. And then Wicks. That Wicks guy, look out for him. But in my honest opinion, Romeo Doubs is probably the number 1 receiver in Green Bay. Just look at it. Jaden Reed is a Swiss Army knife, which I think every team should have a guy like Jaden Reed that you can put in the backfield, you can put in the slot, you can put him at the outside receiver. You just want to get the ball in his hand. You need a guy like Jaden Reed. I think he's very underrated. But as far as just pure wide receiver, when Jordan Love drops back and he's like, you know what, I believe in this guy, it's Romeo Dupes, man. It's Romeo Dupes. I know everybody thinks Christian Watson, but listen, he just got drafted high. Romeo Dupes is that guy. Colton Texans. Bounce back game for CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud lost some people some games by himself. It's not too often that quarterbacks have that type of power, but that guy definitely did. He pulled an Anthony Richardson. And yes, I don't like Anthony Richardson because I think he's a terrible project. I think Anthony Richardson gives project quarterbacks a bad name. Anthony Richardson is what they thought Lamar Jackson was going to be. Simple and plain. And that's why I just don't. Michael Pittman Jr., Joshua Downs, all those guys, they are dependent on him getting benched. When he gets benched, they have better production, and there's no coincidence. Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell. Tank Dell just had zero. Look for Tank Dell to have a bounce-back game. Joe Mixon is going college mode. So if you got Joe Mixon, you are happy. You're fine. You're good. You love it. Saints and Chargers. Saints, another team that's banged up at wide receiver that could be on the move. Chris Olave missed last game. He's having a terrible season. And now Raheed Shaheed, he's done for the season. So what do? Bub Means is all right. Alvin Kamara just got some bread today, so maybe they're going to use him more. Jawan Johnson, he's got to get more touches, but he's also got to get open. The Chargers are going to come in this game with Ladd McConkey and these guys, and they're just going to go play ball control. Look for J.K. Dobbins to have a big week. He had a bad week last week, so look for him to have a good one. That's usually how these things go. Look for him to have a good week. And we move on. Bills and Seahawks. Bill, this is going to be one of those low-key explosive games. You got Geno Smith. He's been playing very well. You got the Seahawks offense, and then you got this Bills team that brings in Amari Cooper. So now they have guys that they trust. They have guys that they believe in. This Seahawks and Bills game is going to be very, very, very interesting. It's going to be very, very high scoring. Over-runners are at 48. Look for those to climb. Look for those to climb and look for those to climb up higher. I like Kenneth Walker. I like James Cook. I like everybody out there. I like everybody out there in this game. I think it's going to be a good one. Panthers and Broncos, stay away from it, especially if you have the Panthers. The Broncos defense is very god tier. It's a very good defense. It's top tier. I'd stay away from that game. I'd also stay away from that Chiefs and Raiders game. The Chiefs are 4-0. The Raiders have beaten the Chiefs before. They beat them twice last year. This Chiefs team is not that dominant, so look for the Raiders maybe to pull off an upset. As for gambling, plus 400, I would look for the Raiders to maybe pull off an upset. Just because, like I said, the Chiefs aren't that good this year, and the Raiders have nothing to lose, and they have a team that's built to beat a team like this. But stay away from those two games for sure. Those two games are going to be pretty kicker standard and pretty ass cheeks. Bears and Commanders, two rookie quarterbacks, 1 versus 2, points. Please give me points. Please give me points. NFL refs, don't fuck this up for us. Don't mess this up for us. We finally get one. Don't mess this up. 49ers and Cowboys was supposed to be a good game, but with the injuries and with how bad the Cowboys are, just give me the Cowboys with the injuries, man. I just think that's a terrible game as well. The Cowboys should be able to do something, though, because the 49ers suck right now. And they're injured. So, we'll see. Monday Night Football, Mike Tomlin and his Steelers versus the Giants. I like everybody. With Russell Wilson at quarterback, everything's open now. Everything is open. It's kind of crazy how much can be done when the quarterback position's fulfilled. Look at the Panthers. They get Andy Dalton, now all of a sudden Chuba, Deontay Johnson, and Xavier Legette are worthy people to pick up. They're good to have on your team. And that's the same situation with the Steelers. Pickens, Pat Freiermuth, Najee Harris, all these guys are now factors because they have a quarterback that's competent. Not saying Justin Fields wasn't, but Justin Fields limits the offense passing because of he's still learning. He's still learning. And you're still learning that you can trust me and hit that subscribe button. Remember to follow us on Instagram at ThatGuyJig, JigsawJimmy17 on the YouTube. All right? Let's be friends. This ship never sinks. Thanks for listening. And once again, this is That Guy Jig Sports Podcast. I am him, JIG. Subscribe, rate, and review. Amazon, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Check us out. Peace.